Now we are ready to bake this guy. We just powder coated him. And all I use is a little toaster oven. And what I've come up with is these clips. And you can see how they clip and they are upright because they will drip, the powder coat will drip down. And here's an example, if I can get it to focus on there. Can you see that the nipple, because this football head was upside down like that, and you can see how it dripped, created a little nipple on there, and obviously we don't want that. So I figured out, put these little clips in there, little metal clips, and we just put it in there and we'll bake it at 350 for about 20 to 30 minutes. And then they're done. A nice hard cured powder coat on there. Next, we are going to, after it's baked, cool down, we're going to put some eyes on this little guy. So just little sticker eyes. What I typically do, I have my, you can use a vise or by hand. I just use tiny bit of super glue, put a drop on there, and it helps to use a toothpick. You can see that, and just lay it on there and twist the toothpick, and then you can use it to move it around and help you. So when you're finished, it'll look like this guy. So got two eyes on there, and they're just super glued right now. So what I do next is I take this seal coat, and I'm going to brush on 2 to 3 coats over top the whole jig head. Later, when I finish the jig, because that seal coat, some of it will get into the weed, where the weed guard, I feel it helps hold the weed guard in there. Even though I epoxy the weed guard in there, it will give it another kind of glue, if you will, to hold it in there. So I won't apply this right now. It'll be once the jig is totally put together, tied, and everything. But I just wanted to point that out, that there will be another, you're going to need more coats because they will come off because they're not, the edge there, the water will catch it and pull it off eventually. On to the next step. We are going to tie this little guy. Now we're ready to tie this little guy. Move him in position there a little better. So have a vise, bobbin with my thread matching up the white, and then I have my skirts. And I'll show you those in a little bit. So first we have to get the string tied on there, and you just making lots of wraps. I take the string from one side, slide it over, wrap it around several times in this direction. Then I take the string and I go backwards and wrap it around again, just several times. And what you want to do is build up a little thread so that when you tie the skirts on, it has something to grab on. And then we just snip this extra off, and we're ready to start. Notice how I have it turned upside down. I always start on the bottom and work my way up. So I actually have 4 colors I'm doing today. I have this new marabou type stuff I want to try out. So the bottom, I have a pure white using 1 full tab. And what I typically do is I will lay it down, and I know you can't see it. I will lay it down, put my finger halfway, and then I pinch it just on one side of my finger, and you'll notice like this side over here is a little longer than this side over here. Because when you tie it on there, you want the longer side on the head side of the jig because it has to fold over, and then that'll make them equal. So I typically just lay it on my lap. I know you can't see it right now, but then I just pinch it. Make sure you get all the strands together. So then I pinch it. You'll notice one side, this side shorter than this side, and that's what you want. Again, the longer side on the head side of the jig. So then I just lay it on there, hold it, and wrap it. Now notice you want this wrap to be as close to the back of the head as you can. And pull it fairly tight. I usually go about 3 times around. I will actually tie a knot. What I do, pull some slack, hold it down there, up over the top. Now I go over this loop. 1, 2, 3. After the third one, I stick the bobbin through the loop, holding this tight. I pull, holding onto it as long as I can, this loop, holding onto it, keeping tension. Now I don't cinch it down because what I want to do is take the skirt, kind of spread it out a little bit. This is the bottom. I only want it about halfway. So I just spread it out just a little bit. Try to make sure the tabs here are not crisscrossing, that they stay nice and straight so that when you're fully done, everything lays nice and flat. So there's my bottom. Now with that knot, I have to rock it back and forth a little bit. Now you can feel it cinch down. Now I do it the opposite way. So I go over the top for my loop. I come up from the other side, the front side, over 3 times with the bobbin, over the loop, through the loop again, keeping tension here, pulling, keeping tension on that loop, and then I actually grab that. You can see I kind of grab that where the knot is. And again, you kind of work it back and forth, being careful not to break the thread. So now I have that on there, the bottom skirt. We're going to flip it over, and we can work on basically the middle section. Now I typically go make 2 turns on this. Now, I don't know if you can see, but when you're twisting over, going over, you want to try to be exactly on the thread that you're going around the collar with, because you don't want, I don't like to make a wide wrap with it. I like to make it as skinny as possible. So my next color is this, I believe it's a silver scale color. It's kind of like gray with a little glitter in there, like a little nice scale pattern on there. And if these tabs are twisted, I like to untwist them, keep everything nice and straight. Again, I lay it down, 1 finger, the other side. Again, one side's a little longer than the other. You got to make sure the longer side is on the head side. Holding it on there, again, over. And when you're coming down, you got to wiggle. See how I'm kind of wiggling back and forth? Got to wiggle your way through that bottom skirt, part of the skirt, so that you don't catch one of these over here, the bottom skirt tabs. You don't catch any and make it ruins it. And so I go over it about 3 times, work my way through, again, trying to keep the thread all on the same path. I tie one of my knots. 1, 2, 3, through the loop. Again, whoa, keeping pressure on the loop as I pull. I secure it just a little bit. Again, this one is kind of my middle color, so I really need to spread it out evenly as possible on either side. And I'm trying to leave a little gap on the top for my last color. which is a little darker. Typically, most our fish have a little darker top on it. So I've spread it out, kind of check both sides, see if they're pretty even, work it through. Because if you have gaps, it's not going to look that good once you fold them over. So nice and even. There we go. So that's our second tab. This last tab, typically this size jig, I'll do 2.5 tabs. And I have another tab. This is I believe it's a crystal blue scale. And I'm only going to use half a tab for the top part. And so we just basically separate it, pull the tab apart, pull it apart. So now I only have half a tab. Still doing the same process, pinching. A little longer, the longer part up by the head. Wrapping. Again, now you got to work your way through those other tabs, trying to maintain one pathway as you're wrapping. It will be noticed if you're not on the same pathway. So again, working your way through 3 wraps through the loop, pinching, secure just a little bit. This one we don't have to spread out too much because it is the top. Okay. Now, cinch that down. Now we go to the back side. Wraps through the loop, keeping tension. Kind of pinch that where the knot's going. Again, work it back and forth, nice and secure. I have this new Malibu. I want to put a little bit in there and see how it looks. And here's, you can see how it glitters and shimmers in the light. But what I've found is this, where I'm not going to fold it. It's going to stay straight. So I'm going to tie it up here towards the tip, this end up here, and then it'll go back. It doesn't. I found that it doesn't, or I was told it doesn't fold over nicely. So we're just going to do this. We're going to lay a little bit on the side here and repeat our process. Work our way through. And making sure we maintain pressure, because it will, the tabs and skirt material will move. So now I want to trim this front end. And I'm going to flip it over so I can do the other side.